Alright guys, we are back here at the Mid-Level Media channel. I'm Ken, and today we're going to be reviewing another Warner Brothers title on 4K, and that is North by Northwest, Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest, starring Cary Grant. So yeah guys, I'm excited to get into this one. Warner Brothers has been killing it, absolutely killing it this week. I have reviewed The Terminator on 4K, I have reviewed Blazing Saddles on 4K. Now it's time for North by Northwest. If you didn't check out those reviews, go back and check out those reviews. But before we get into it, guys, I got a lot to say about this. We're going to talk about the movie. We're going to talk about the transfer. We're going to talk about special features. We're going to talk about all of it in today's video. Before we get into it, like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We talk about physical media on this channel, guys. That's basically what we do here. Blu-rays, 4Ks, owning the movies that you love, all that stuff there behind me, back there every single day. So if you like that kind of stuff, that kind of content, definitely hit that subscribe button. We also talk about the movies here, guys. I do like to talk about the movies themselves. I don't care if every single person that watches this video has seen this movie before. I still like to talk about it because I just watched it. Let me know your thoughts on North by Northwest in the comments section below as well, guys. Is this one of your favorite Hitchcock movies? I'm going to be honest, I actually reviewed this already on the channel. I did an Alfred Hitchcock month back in May of 2022, and I watched the Blu-ray of North by Northwest, which I will be doing a little comparison here because I did pop in the Blu-ray for reference just to kind of see what kind of an upgrade this was from the Blu-ray. But I watched this Blu-ray back in May of 2022. I did a review on the channel of the film. I liked the movie, but I wasn't like super high on it when I first saw it. It was... I wouldn't say lower tier Hitchcock for me, but it was more like mid tier. Like my favorite Hitchcock movies is Rear Window, Rope, and I would say Psycho is my all-time favorite just because I've been watching that movie since I was a kid. And I watched North by Northwest, and there was such hype surrounding this film. And I was honestly, like, I liked it, but I was a little bit let down. And that is why sometimes, guys, when you go into a movie and it's so hyped up, and you watch it for the first time, it's better to go into these movies like with your expectations in check for what you're getting and just be open to what you were getting, because I just wasn't expecting the kind of movie that this turned out to be. Rewatching it and knowing what it was, I really found myself getting into this film a lot more this time. This is what I would say, what I would call is Alfred Hitchcock's like summer big blockbuster, big budget movie. Like, this is unlike anything else that he had ever done before. This was really the culmination of just his entire body of work and just him working as a director for, I think at this point in time, for a good 30 years or so. I mean, he was making films in the 20s, but this was like the culmination of his career as a filmmaker, as a director. Like, this was it right here. Everything that he had done in his entire career led to this point. And when you watch it through that context, through that lens, you can really appreciate this movie for everything that it does. It's a big, sprawling, epic movie, a mystery. It's a thriller. It's a spy espionage film. It's kind of a comedy as well. Like, there's several comedic moments, which we'll get into in a second. And I think that primarily before this, like, Hitchcock is mostly known for suspense thrillers, horror as well with Psycho and The Birds. They don't really think of like big budget, like action movies when they think of Hitchcock, but that's kind of what North by Northwest is. Like, this is kind of like the Mission Impossible, like the new Mission Impossible movies we're getting now, you know, Dead Reckoning and Fallouts and all the new ones with Tom Cruise. Like, Cary Grant is kind of Tom Cruise in this film in Mission Impossible, if we're going to relate it to a more modern film. That's what I would say North by Northwest is. It starts off very small. You know, with Cary Grant, he's in advertising. He's in the advertising business. It's a case of mistaken identity. He gets mistaken for somebody that they think is a spy. He gets kidnapped and everything just goes awry. I'm not going to get into the details because I don't want to spoil any aspects of this movie. But it's definitely one of the best, like, scripts. Like, I really appreciated the writing and just how things that are set up in the beginning of the movie that don't quite make sense, they make sense as you go along. And everything is explained in a way that doesn't feel like over exposition or anything like that. It doesn't feel unnecessary. It all unravels as it should, as it feels like it should throughout the movie. So I do think this is one of the best scripts ever written. And I'm blanking on the guy that wrote this movie. I'm sure everybody else will call it out in the comments section. I want to get his name. Ernest Lehman. did the script of this movie. So it's definitely one of the best scripts. I also think Cary Grant just brings so much to this film, and you're really just following Cary Grant through the entirety of this movie. There's very few scenes without Cary Grant in this film. But Cary Grant, like, my favorite classic actor is James Stewart, who is also in a ton of Hitchcock movies. They both bring like a similar charisma and suaveness, but Cary Grant is just a little cooler in his approach to that. He is very cool, very smooth, very suave in all of his films, and he has to be like 60 years old in this movie, and he's pulling 20-year-old girls, and it feels realistic. Like, it feels like he could actually do that because he's so smooth and charismatic and suave, and the energy and the sexual tension that him and Eva Marie Saint have in this film is definitely there. And there's several scenes with them that are kind of, I imagine for the time, very spicy, the way that they play out. But, nowadays, like, I still think that they're very good scenes full of charisma and energy between those two. They have great chemistry with each other in the movie. So Cary Grant, like, brings so much to this, but he's also, like, really funny in this movie as well. And it's to the point where it's like, you should be more afraid than you are because of the stuff that's happening to you in this movie. It's like people just kidnap him in the beginning, but he seems so calm about it. It's almost unrealistic, but also it's like, okay, well, that's who the character is, and it makes sense, I guess, as you go along in the movie and learn more about him and his character. But he's just so good, like, throughout this whole movie. And in this movie just really makes me, I like Cary Grant a lot. Like, I love To Catch a Thief. That's one of my favorite Hitchcock movies as well. I haven't seen as much of his films as I have James Stewart, who, again, is probably my favorite classic actor. But, like, Cary Grant is just amazing in this movie. And, like, I truly believe, like, this movie's so great. One, for the script and the story for sure, but also because Cary Grant is he just carries this whole movie on his back. It is just so magnetic with his performance. So North by Northwest is a movie that I didn't appreciate as much as I should. I'll admit that before I rewatched it on 4K. Now I appreciate it. That's my thoughts on the movie, guys. Getting into the transfer. This is the meat of the review, guys. This is what you guys want to know about. This is a native 4K with HDR10. There is no Dolby Vision included here. This is on a 100 gigabyte disc. So Terminator was on a 100 gigabyte disc, but Blazing Saddles was on 66 gigabytes. And I have to imagine, and very smartly, might I add, that Warner Bros. Put this on 100 gigabytes because this movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes long, which by classic movie standards, like, that's pretty damn long. So they smartly, because the movie was so long, which Paramount did not do this for Once Upon a Time in the West, which is also a long movie, but Warner Brothers put this on a 100 gigabyte disc. And again, we'll get into the special features. There's a lot of special features, which I imagine may be played into why they did that as well. But this looks gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous. And like I said, I did not watch I watched this Blu-ray a couple of years ago, but I did not go back and watch the entirety of this Blu-ray to kind of compare it. So I don't really do like image comparisons and stuff like that. You guys are just hearing like my raw, unfiltered thoughts, just the way that I see it. But North by Northwest on Blu-ray, it's not a bad Blu-ray by any means, but my goodness, this 4K is just leaps and bounds ahead of the way that this Blu-ray looks. The Blu-ray looks good, but the level of detail and clarity in this 4K is really, really astonishing. And like I said, this movie is big, and it is grand, and it is epic, and it needed that great 4K. Like, if any Hitchcock movie, they've done so many Hitchcock movies on 4K. Some people could argue it needed a 4K, it didn't need a 4K. This is the one, I think, of all the Hitchcock movies that needed that 4K upgrade, because I think it could benefit from that 4K the most, because it is so big and grand and sprawling, and the scenery and the landscapes in this film are fantastic. There are huge, like, set piece moments in this film. Like, the two in particular that I'm thinking of is the crop duster airplane chase sequence. That looks amazing in 4K. That whole, like, sequence looks so good in 4K. And the plane's coming in right behind him and he's running just how I imagined it would look fantastic in 4K. He's running. There's such detail in Cary Grant's face, in his suit, the clothes that he's wearing, in the cornfield surrounding him. When he falls to the ground, the plane shooting at him on the ground. So much incredible detail. It looks so amazing in 4K. But what really stood out to me, like the highlight of the movie, is like the last 15 minutes when they're climbing all over Mount Rushmore, which is definitely one of the more iconic scenes in the movie. But that whole sequence, that whole like thing with Mount Rushmore at the end when they're climbing down it, it looked so amazing. And Mount Rushmore, like itself in 4K, that whole sequence is set at night, and the contrast between the black and the dark grays of Mount Rushmore just look incredible. There's so much depth there. So that sequence really delivers in 4K for sure. And there's so many incredible like set piece moments and things, and great like set design in this movie that needed that 4K upgrade. But just all the close-ups on the faces, the detail in the faces look amazing. The outfit that Cary Grant's wearing the whole movie, everybody's outfit in this movie, the close-up shots, you can see every single fiber in all of the clothing in this 4K. This honestly, to me, is one of the best 4Ks of the year. Like, it is honestly an astonishing 4K upgrade. It's the reason why, like, I just love these classic films upgraded to 4K, because you're seeing it like you've never seen it before. They've had so many versions of this movie out, like in theaters and on VHS and Laserdisc and Blu-ray and DVD and so many different editions of North by Northwest, but this is literally the best you will ever see this movie. And it makes you feel like you're watching it as it was being filmed, like it's real life back in 1959, and you're watching like what it looked like when they were filming it. Like, that's how good this looks in 4K. So I can't say enough good things about this 4K. Honestly, like, of the three, I love the Terminator on 4K, and I love Blazing Saddles on 4K, but like this on 4K, like of the three like recent Warner Brothers 4K upgrades, I think it might be the best. I really think it might be the best, because it looked so incredibly gorgeous. But get into the sound, guys. You have the Dolby Atmos upgrade here as well, which again, this is a big, like, sprawling, epic blockbuster movie with great action and set piece moments, explosions in this movie. And I think you did need that Atmos upgrade for this, and I'm so happy that Warner Bros. Delivered that. Now, I don't have that full setup. I got a soundbar that kind of simulates the Atmos, and I've got a subwoofer. Everything sounded incredible. Bernard Herrmann's score in this, which I did not talk about in the review, is so epic and so incredible. I love the music of this movie. Like, dare I say it's his best score, because he also did Psycho, which is an incredible score. But the score in this movie, like, is, you know, like I said about, the Terminator recently, it's as much a part of this movie as anything else. Like, it is a character of the movie. It really carries the film, much like Cary Grant as well. An incredible score, absolutely amazing score by Bernard Herrmann, and it sounds fantastic with that Dolby Atmos. You also have the Dolby True HD 7.1, and you got a DTS HD Master Audio 2.0 as well. So if you want to listen to it, that more traditional sound, you can do that. But getting into the packaging here, guys, like, I love the slipcover on this one. I think it looks so clean and white, and I love the kind of like the spiral stuff like there, almost like it's hypnotizing you. And then you got Mount Rushmore, and you got the iconic Cary Grant running from the plane. I like how they mashed those two together right there. It's incredible. You turn it to the back, and you got Eva Marie Saint, who is fantastic in the movie, by the way. She is so good. I need to see more of her stuff. You got the synopsis. You got some other images down there, and bam. Look at all the detail right there, guys. And James Mason as well. Didn't talk about him as the villain, Van Damme. He is great as the villain as well. Everybody in this movie is just fantastic. But you take this out of the slipcover. You got the 4K. You got the back of the 4K right there. This one just adds the casting list. You open it up. We'll get into the features here in a second. You do have a digital code here. There is no Blu-ray included there. So if you have the Blu-ray, you might want to keep your Blu-ray just to have that option. But you got some disc art on here of Mount Rushmore, which is super cool. I'll zoom in on that. I appreciate me some good disc art for sure. But yeah, awesome packaging. I like the Steelbook as well. There is a Steelbook option that is still available. The slipcover version is $24.99, and the Steelbook right now currently is $29.99. I've been debating on double dipping to get that Steelbook because it is an incredible Steelbook, and I really like the Steelbook, but I just haven't done it yet. Now, getting into the special features, you do have a commentary with the screenwriter Ernest Lehman, which I think is an older commentary, I think going all the way back to DVD. I could be wrong. Maybe it was new for the Blu-ray release, or maybe it went all the way back to Laserdisc. I'm not exactly sure, but there is that commentary with him that has been on all the releases before. Now, just like Blazing Saddles, there is a special feature on here that I'm not quite sure is new or not. You guys can let me know in the comments section below if you know, but I do know it's not on the Blu-ray. I didn't see it on any of the past DVD or Blu-ray or any of the past releases that have come out. And when I watched it, it looked new in terms of like presentation and like the cameras they were using to do the interviews and everything. It looked like a newer feature that they did for this release, but Warner Brothers didn't advertise that it was a brand new feature. But that feature is North by Northwest, cinematography, score, and the art of the edit. And that one focuses on Hitchcock's frequent collaborators, the person that did the cinematography, the score, and the editing, and how he had used them multiple times leading up to this film. And this was really kind of the culmination of all the work that they did together, just kind of coming together to deliver the perfect movie, essentially. So that's about 22 minutes. It's a really good special feature. So if that is new, that is well worth part of the price of this 4K for sure. But then you got a lot of the past special features, and they're honestly like really great features. I found myself watching the entirety of one of them just because of who was involved. But you have Destination Hitchcock, The Making of North by Northwest, The Master's Touch, Hitchcock's Signature Style, and North by Northwest, One for the Ages. I think I watched North by Northwest, One for the Ages. I can't quite remember, but whatever the one was where they had William Friedkin in it. Actually, I think he's in a couple of them because I started to watch another one that's about an hour long, and he was in that one as well. But they had a lot of directors like Guillermo del Toro and William Friedkin just kind of talking about North by Northwest, and I think one of them was just based on Hitchcock's career in general. So these are some really cool features, and I think that they were new to the Blu-ray release that came out back in the day, and one of these was exclusive to the DVD that came out back in the day. But this also has a guided tour with Alfred Hitchcock as well. But with all of the features that are included here, guys, like there are like 4 featurettes / documentaries here. This is like over 2 hours of special features on this, plus the audio commentary. And again, I think one of the features is brand new for this release. So in my opinion, guys, like this is 100% worth it. I think it's one of the best 4Ks of 2024 so far. It's a fantastic film directed by Alfred Hitchcock, classic film. There is a new feature, I'm pretty sure, and there's tons of great archival features as well, a documentary on Hitchcock's work, all kinds of great stuff for this release. So $24.99 for this upgrade to 4K is well worth it, in my opinion. So there you go, guys. That's my review of North by Northwest. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos, and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.